So hey guys, I wanted to make a video that talked a little bit about the differences between DRO and DRA. So DRO is differential reinforcement of other, and DRA is differential reinforcement of alternative behavior. So we do a lot of DRO in our training. Basically, we might correct the dog for a behavior we don't like, but we'll reward the dog for a ton of other behaviors that the dog chooses, other behaviors, and the dog chooses those other behaviors and we reward them for it. So we might make, X behavior off, hi, Ishka. We might make X behavior off limits, but you can pick from all these other behaviors and get rewarded for it. Alternative behavior means that we pick a behavior we want the dog to do. So when dog does X behavior, we're going to teach it how to do, Y behavior instead, and Y behavior is incompatible with X. So the dog can no longer practice the X behavior. So let's give you an example other than algebraic letters. Let's do jumping on people. Very, very common thing I encounter. So it's very common that either I've had a client try this, or they've been taught by somebody else to try it, or they've read online to try that if your dog jumps on people, teach the dog to sit in order to get greeted. Because the dog's excited, the dog wants to meet the people, dog jumps, and the dog can't do jumping if the dog is sitting, right? So there are oftentimes, but there's a lot of struggle with that, and you end up with a lot of, high energy, maybe some anxiousness, a lot of restraining physically with the dog, with the leash or at the collar. Or the dog just never doesn't get greeted because it just keeps jumping and you're just ignoring it, hoping for it not to jump and sit so you can greet it. So if the dog wanted to sit to get greeted on its own without being told, it would do that. But instead we're picking that behavior. If we think of it from a differential reinforcement of other, a DRO, basically jumping is out. We'll probably correct the jumping. We might give the dog a squirt for jumping. Jumping is out. But hey, you can pick from all these other behaviors to get rewarded, including I'll reward you when you have 4 feet on the ground and not jumping. But I'm not going to do anything other than correct the jumping, but I'm going to reward all these other things. And I may not physically reward the feet on the ground at first. I may do it a lot with food at first till the dog's a little better, and then add that petting in later on. Hi. Hey. Hello. Yes, good girl. Yes. Ishka hanging out. Ishka used to jump on me a lot. We've done a lot. Work on that so she doesn't do that. So I'm not making the choice for the dog as in what behavior you have to do. I'm allowing the dog to pick from behaviors that they can do. What this allows is for a dog that we're not having to control as much. It doesn't mean that we can't ever teach our dog sit, or teach our dog to on a mat, or teach our dog to lay down. It doesn't mean that obedience is bad. It just, in certain places, why fight it? Why just, okay, I don't want the dog to jump, fine. We'll correct the dog for jumping. We'll reward the dog for all these other things. The jumping's going to go away, and we're going to get to greet the dog, which is what you want to do anyhow. So that's just an example of, we'll reward the dog for lots of other things, not jumping. And we don't have to correct the jumping. We could wait. We could just food bomb the dog at first. There's other things. I just tend to do a quick squirt because it seems to work really easy and efficiently. Versus the dog has to sit, and we're going to struggle with teaching the dog to sit and struggle every time it greets somebody, or it's not going to greet, or it's just going to be kind of crazy. So I wanted to give you an example of DRO versus DRA and why a lot of times in a lot of our training, especially when the dogs are free, we choose to do DRO instead with the dog. So hopefully that helps, guys. Bye-bye.